Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at etrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Hellwig Front Anti-Sway Bar. Now, upgrading a front sway bar is going to make a huge difference every time you drive your vehicle. I've upgraded sway bars on many of my own personal vehicles just to give it a little bit sportier handling, but when it comes to something large like this, that's essentially a large sail going down the highway, you're going to feel that in the steering wheel. That sway side to side makes a little bit more white knuckle, and also when you turn and you're kind of just feeling that top lean instead of make a nice crisp turn, that's where a sway bar comes in handy. And the factory one is fine, but moving to a larger bar with a larger diameter is going to be a great option to stiffen that up right out the gate. And this one is made out of chromoly 4140 steel, so it's great quality. You have this nice hammer tone finish that also creates little pockets for the grease. That way it's going to stay lubricated a little bit better than the flat on flat surface that you have on your factory ones. As that grease can kind of work its way out, this will kind of trap that in there. And that grease is going to go into these bushings, and right away you're going to see pretty quickly the difference. First and foremost, urethane bushings are going to be huge. I've upgraded bushings on my own personal vehicles. I've done plenty on RVs, and it makes a world of difference. It holds up to pretty much anything you throw at it. It's not going to break down, and it's just going to give it a little bit more rigidity overall, which is going to translate to more sway control. And that also kind of leads into your connecting points of the sway bar. So factory end links on our F53, pretty small here. So all of this can be super strong, but if it's flexing through here and this singular bracket, then it's going to lose that sway. Whereas our Hellwig, you can tell, is quite a bit thicker, just overall super robust. We have zinc coated hardware throughout too, so it's going to hold up to all the weather that you throw at it. So going from stock to this is just going to give you those urethane bushings, which is higher quality overall, more thickness, and overall more sway control. So this is something that's hard to quantify when going out and just driving and speaking to people. It's something you feel in the steering wheel. But the great thing about suspension upgrades, they're my personal favorite. It's because every time you drive your vehicle, it's going to make a difference. Every time you make a turn, you're going to be happy that you have it on, and you'll kind of wonder how you did it before. So we'll get this on and see how it does. Now this is what your front sway bar is going to look like when it's installed on your motorhome, and this is a larger diameter that replaces the factory one. Not by a lot, but where I see the difference is definitely in the end links and the frame mounting. And that's kind of the cool part of this, is there's no drilling required. This actually uses all the factory spots, so it really is just a bolt-in installation. Now keep in mind, these are pretty heavy, and you're going to be underneath your RV, and you need to have your suspension compressed just as you would driving down the road. So a lot of this will probably be done on your back. So it's a little bit tricky, but overall, step by step, it's not too hard to do. So with our sway bar officially installed, we're out taking it for our first test drive. And these, every time I've done them, it's just the first turn you can really tell a difference, and that's the case here. And while we're just doing parking lot maneuvering, which is small movements, it's definitely translatable, but really what I think a lot of people want sway bars for is when they're out on the road and you get that gust of wind or a semi passing you or whatever it may be. That's where you're really going to find that the whole RV is just going to be more planted. It just is a more solid feel. It's going to cut down on the white knuckling. So especially if you've ever driven in high winds, on an open highway or in weather, you're really fighting on the wheel, just having to kind of keep this thing from going side to side, and it's very unsettling feeling. Where this, once you have those sway bars in, it really just kind of absorbs everything, allowing you to focus on the road, making it a lot more comfortable to just kind of have a nice smooth operation throughout the driving experience. Reducing body roll on something like this that feels top heavy when it drives, the chassis is very solid, and the center of gravity, it's not going to roll over per se, but it definitely feels that way when you drive it sometimes, and this is a great way to reduce that. So especially if you're out camping out in the mountains or whatever it may be, where you have some twisty roads, that's where you really don't want to feel that top heavy feel, and that's where you're going to get more confidence. Every time you drive your vehicle with those sway bars in place, you're going to feel like it's more planted, you know what it's doing, and it's going to be able to just handle those turns just a little bit better. And that was a look at the Hellwig Front Anti-Sway Bar.